Today we're going to talk about tiers released for the Gamefound campaign for KeyForge and Ghost Galaxy. Also some exclusive Archons Corner spoilers. We got to give a huge shout out to Gamefound for sponsoring this episode and getting us these exclusive Archons Corner spoilers. Make sure you go help them out with their Gamefound campaign. You can find the link down in the description below.
Have you got color in your cheeks? Do you ever get that feel that you got?
If you like the episode, consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/Archons Corner. All the tiers have been reworked, so make sure you check out the all-new Archons Corner Patreon page, as well as our Spreadshirt. You can buy all your Archons Corner merchandise there. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
This tune I found that makes me think of you somehow, and I play it on repeat until I fall asleep.
All right, what's going on, everybody? I am the one, the only, the WOOKIE. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to my lovely co-hosts. Not Z. Not
what?
Well, okay, Drazcor. Hi, Drazcor.
Me. Yes.
Yeah. What's going on, Drazcor?
It's going. I'm excited about what day it is tomorrow.
Yeah, it's spoiler day. But Z, what's going on, my friend?
Well, what's actually tomorrow is the Gamefound launch, and I'm going to be much poorer by the end of the day tomorrow. But
He is no longer able to go to Kansas City.
No. I'm going to Kansas City. Little Z's just not going to college.
Oh, ever. Yeah.
It's okay.
I mean, start him now with the YouTube. You know, that way he can support your habit.
He can make more money doing YouTube stuff.
That's right. And we got Dr. Sheep. Hi, Sheep.
Hello.
Just a ray of sunshine.
Formal.
That Sheep. And we got Ewok. Hi, Ewok.
Hello, KeyForge community.
So we got buckets and buckets and buckets to go over. Obviously, a lot of news dropped over the past week. But we're gonna start out with Z going over the Fire Sale Frenzy update. So Z, give us the cliff notes because we got lots to do.
Yeah, this will be a little bit longer next week when we finish. There is 1 week left. We have one undefeated person, as in they are 3-0 or 4-0 in all of the brackets. I wasn't giving them shout outs, but we got a lot to talk about. Thus far, all the matches have been played. I've not had to sub for anyone, which is great for me and great for them. So everyone still has a chance to win a fuzzy from Sheep. Next week is the final week. We are going to be doing a streaming for the top 8. So after the round robin, there'll be a top 16 week. And then I will set up streaming times for the top 8. I'll probably try to set up so where there's like 2 matches and people can come watch that live. If you're interested in wanting to possibly do commentary, reach out to me in the Discord. Or if you know someone that likes to do that, reach out to me and we can see who we can get on. And one of the coolest things thus far in the round robin, I'm not going to say their name on here, but probably the most whiny person in the whole Fire Sale Frenzy, which was the 39th draft pick, complaining about unfairness and how the draft rank mattered too much, and there should be some kind of balancing mechanism, is currently 3-0 and guaranteed to make the top cut. So yes, as I originally said, I don't think the draft order mattered as much as people thought it would. That is becoming somewhat more conclusive. We're going to collect more robust data at the end of this and throw out some numbers for people that love the data. But that is it in a nutshell. Lots of fun stuff. Lots of people are making their way to the top cut, and lots of people are playing their way in next week. So more
Not me, though.
update. No, not you.
Definitely not.
More details to come in the following week, though.
I don't even know how to play KeyForge. I don't even know why I run this show.
But you are releasing content, so
What?
You're here for our casuals, Wookie.
And I don't know. I'm looking for the kick button. I can't find it. It's weird. But obviously buckets to go over this week. We did get some news. We're going to go over the tiers. You kind of probably heard our first, if you're one of the Patreons, you heard our first thoughts about the tiers. But then all of a sudden, another piece of, I guess, not really news dropped. We got a little, I guess, blurbit. We got an article about, like, basically the house of well, they're just calling it Ekwidon now. They still in the article they did describe it as the Compacts of Ekwidon, but then pretty much throughout the rest of the article they just called it House Ekwidon. So maybe a little naming failure to launch there. I'm not sure, but I think the bigger portion of what this is we had this discussion when we first saw closed door negotiation, right? If you're unfamiliar, closed door negotiation gives you a pip of Ember. It is an Ekwidon action at play. Your opponent draws a card, steal one. If you do, and your opponent still has more Ember than you, trigger this effect again. So we kind of, I guess debated on how that's going to work. Is it going to be more like bait and switch, which it only triggers the twice and then you're done? Or is it going to actually redo the thing that it's printed to do? Because there's whole sorts of timing. What did you call it last week, Sheep? What was FFG's timing ruling?
Well, they had made a few different.
No, you gave it a specific name last week. It was like Wiggy Wonky or something like that.
I think it was Wonkadoo.
Wonkadoo, that's what it was. It's my new favorite word. I forgot. Yeah. But going on into the article, it does exactly what it says. It will steal one. Your opponent draws a card, you trigger the action again, and it does it until basically your opponent no longer has more Ember than you. Thoughts on this one? Does this mean bait and switch is going back to the OG bait and switch?
No,
because
they're not going to touch that.
They basically are telling us, as a KeyForge community, bait and switch is never going to be changed because there should have been a tangible balancing mechanism built into the card itself. And we see that balancing mechanism in that the other player is getting to draw cards.
Yep.
In their this iteration of what bait and switch could have possibly been the go. But I actually like this in many ways more because one of the things that gets missed sometimes is no matter what, as long as they have one Amber, it steals an Amber from them. It does not matter if you have more than them. The first Amber, I believe, is stolen no matter what. And then it checks their Amber versus yours. So there's many scenarios where this is tangibly better than bait and switch in many ways. Because
unless your opponent has 0 Ember, then you're just letting your opponent draw a card for a pip.
Yeah. In most cases, you are gaining 2, they're losing 1 and drawing a card. That is a great valuation for any KeyForge card as far as the way the game is played.
I will still, for those of you interested, I am still running the campaign hashtag unnerf bait and switch. So you can sign up for my, I don't even know what those websites are called now.
Wishfulthinking.com.
Yeah, whatever. Wishfulthinking.com. So,
Fatchance.com.
I guess not.
alone.com.
I'm not alone. There are plenty of people who think
I am a
should be
subscriber to Wookiees. I subscribe to the site as well, but because of the way this card is coming out, like down the line, I think this pretty much answers that it's never going to happen.
Why? Okay, where did you get that from it? Because basically, this card reads the same way bait and switch does.
No, but it has like a tangible built-in balancing mechanism for if you go for the big swing. If you set it up so that you keep them off key, they have the 10, you forward, you go to 0. You can't just steal 5 without them getting a huge advantage, which is the main scenario where bait and switch was potentially swinging games to win the game. It wasn't like the steal 2 or 3 scenarios. It's the
but for me, bait and switch was the ultimate, like, don't get too far ahead because I have that opportunity to bait you. And if I bait you, that's your fault. You knew it was, in Archon especially, it's in the deck. It's there. You have, I mean, it's not like you don't share deck lists.
Because you have to forge a key,
right? And
then you just get to bait and switch me, right? Like the way KeyForge works, bait and switch is a poorly designed card, and with Z, they're not going to fix it. Just like they printed library card saying we ain't never making library access again because it was wrong.
But I think the game developers have gone ahead, and as we add sets, they modify the cards. And I think closed door negotiation does that. I like the building mechanic for go ahead and draw a card. So I like it. I think that's a good modification, and we're going to keep playing and see what it impacts in this set. They talk about it a bit more with House Ekwidon as to how that may actually be an advantage. We'll see if that comes in reality when we're actually playing. But it was exciting to be able to see more cards and to be able to talk about this new house.
All right. Free up storage space. I don't know where my storage space is running low. Hopefully I don't stop recording at any certain time. I'll let y'all know if that happens, and we'll rewind it back. But moving forward, we're going to go into the 6 levels that came out. Obviously, I don't even remember when they came out. Last week, Friday. Is that when it came out?
Yeah, it was. We recorded on Thursday, and we said they're missing some levels here. And before the episode was published,
wait, is it
already?
Yeah,
updated things.
That's right. I hit stop recording, and all of a sudden in our Discord there was new levels, or the levels have been announced. So let's find out why Z is going to be poorer come next week. So some of us.
Before you get into that, I mean, there needs to be a shout out. This was Labor Day weekend. And for a company, I know a lot is riding on this game, but I do give credit to Ghost Galaxy for paying attention to the comments in the Gamefound campaign and being able to add a 6th tier, because they turned that around quickly and they added it in. So again, they're being responsive to us as players, and I really, really appreciate that. So especially on a long 3-day weekend with the holiday there, that was well done.
Yes, some of us still had to work and then made another video.
Yeah, it was.
But anyways,
pretty impressive. I was extremely impressed.
Let's get into it right away. Novice of the Crucible. For Novice of the Crucible, you're going to get 1 2-player starter set, which was later on, I believe, I don't want to say rectified because it never states here what it is. But basically, these are going to be Winds of Exchange decks in this 2-player. And I think the way that they're designing the 2-player starter set is that the 2-player starter set will have the decks of the chosen houses or the chosen set in each one. So kind of like they just did previously. So this will just be the Winds of Exchange.
They clarified that it's going to have 2 non-tournament legal learning decks in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then 2 standard decks and tokens.
Right.
Yeah, and they'll be Winds of Exchange, but you're going to have practice decks. And I know there's been some debate on the community, but I do think for bringing in new players with a restart, this is a great opportunity to go ahead and teach someone. You can set up the deck in a specific way that, frankly, having 2 random decks often causes problems with. So I do like the 2 set decks, but you're also getting 2 random decks that you can play with once you know what's happening.
I don't know if after Winds of Exchange is done, that maybe you need to print another 2-player starter set. Maybe we can just leave those in the past and just print decks. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying for the relaunch, but after this, like, hey, maybe you just don't print those no more.
I mean, I think you might be onto something that, and they don't do block in this, but like, not every set needs a 2-player starter set.
Maybe every one.
They do need a evergreen 2-player starter set though. So like if it's going to be Winds of Exchange, they got to keep printing enough to keep them in stock until they switch the set it's going to come from.
The other thing that we had talked about, I think it was in one of the either Chainbound or Sealed Nights we had, is Winds of Exchange the set you really want to be teaching people how to play on, as opposed to like say like a Coda or something like that.
It's way better than freaking Dark Tidings.
It is, but there's also like
we don't know that.
No, I was at a sealed event trying to teach people how to play Dark Tidings, and like it is a nightmare. And there's nothing crazy about the mechanics on anything we've seen. It's pretty dang simple. Well, it creates creatures that do an effect. Like that is that's all that we're seeing.
So what was the
Dark Tidings is like the whole tide thing, whether it is a card, like I don't know. Dark Tidings is frustrating to experience to teach new people to play. But I've taught lots of people to play this game.
Has been harder since the first.
Yeah.
Like since Coda, every set has added some level of rule or complexity, except AOA, I guess. sort of.
You had Alpha and Omega.
Yeah,
Boy.
well, that wasn't too hard. But after that, like the sets added some level of complexity that constantly gets people asking questions. Like you still even see it now. People post questions on MM. What the hell are enhancements? What are these blue cards? And you're like, oh boy.
Yeah.
So I know, Wookie, you had pointed out putting together a welcome beginner-friendly video series. That would definitely be helpful. And I'm just spitballing here, but would it be helpful for Ghost Galaxy to have a simple print and play that could be there? So it's not necessarily bogging down people in getting their next starter, but being able to have a spot where you could go to the site and for each set, here's 2 decks that if you're trying to introduce people, if you're trying to get your game community going with the new set, here's 2 decks I can go ahead and show. I can stack and show, here's our actions, here's our creatures, here's our artifacts. This is some of the new concepts, AOA. Here's our Alpha, here's our Omega. For Worlds Collide, here's our Exalt. So having some of those key concepts that might be able to be shown, but in a format where you can simply print and play. I guess that's where I would go ahead. I know it's work for Ghost Galaxy, but that might be a nice compromise.
I don't know if print and play is the way to go. I don't want to sit down a new player and be like, hey, look at these things I printed off of my computer. You know, that looks a little...
But I am 100% with Wookie.
Okay.
It doesn't look good, and you're putting the work on the players again to promote and do the game, which is
like, why not welcome decks? Magic does this. They have very basic welcome decks. That, I mean, you know, obviously KeyForge is a little different because you could deconstruct your welcome deck and use it in other places. KeyForge is a little different, you know, but maybe they make welcome decks that are, you know, a little more basic, I guess, for lack of a better word.
We have our
That's what's in the starter.
I know, but I'm saying these would be tournament legal. Like they can play in an event with them. They can do things with them other than play a friend.
But okay.
Well, I mean, that's the point of learn to play decks, though, is learn to play. Now buy some stuff.
Right.
Well, like
first one's free.
The point of the game is never. Even those Magic learn to play decks, most of them aren't they 40-card decks? You can't even play them in tournament.
Well, you can't, but like, you know, I mean, what, you need to find another 20 red cards? You know, like how hard is that to actually play? You know, they're not designed, like there's nothing special in the learn to play decks. But you are giving somebody like, here's free things that you can use later on down the road.
What about, I mean, we see the print on demand for the KeyForge Adventures. What about having a set deck where here's what you can go ahead and order or your game store can carry? Now, I think being able to manage that because it's repeatable, like that's just a training deck. It wouldn't have a QR code, so you're not scanning, you're not playing it, but it's just training. Or even putting it maybe in the OP prize support. So then it could be handed out to the people who are running your events, and then you can go ahead and teach. That might be a little bit easier where you're getting your OP prize support.
But it's nice for a new player to like walk away with something spending $0, like something they can like move on with and then be like, oh, okay. And you play a few games and then you go buy additional pieces.
Having worked the game store enough, like, you know, having something to give away is good, but also having a game where people don't have to have any investment in it doesn't draw necessarily the crowd you end up wanting.
Fair enough. But we're straying a little bit from this, from the tiers. So along with this, you're going to get 2 more wins of exchange decks. So in total, you're going to get 4 wins of exchange decks, some tokens, and I guess basic. I don't really know what do they call it? Is there a name for them? Like basic decks?
Training decks.
Training decks. Is that what they're calling them? Okay. And then this is the tier they added. They added 1 tier right after that, which is the Seeker of Decks. Which they got this. Well, is this just the same art? Yeah, it's just the same art, different graphics. They must have gotten this through the art team pretty quick. It's just going to be 6 wins of exchange decks for $65.
But they responded by having, I mean, the big complaint that people responded with was, we don't want some of the figures and things that you're seeing later on. We just want a deck only. So it was basically, the hashtag was no mat tier. And that's what they responded with. Here's your decks, and here's the cost. And 6 decks for $65.
So they got a lot of comments about the mats immediately that day, the day this was released. Within 2 days, they added this pledge.
2 days, a day. No, you're right. It was Saturday. They released it.
Yep.
So I was like 2 days. This was like a day later. But
And I think what's important to know is that you're not just limited with 6 decks here. Know that when you go into your manager, so once you go ahead and support on Gamefound, you'll then go into a manager section later on where you're going to be able to choose this option multiple times. So if I want a box, I just get 2 of this here Seeker of Decks.
That gives you a whole display.
Correct.
For $130, which would be $28 of savings.
Yep.
So this is pretty good if all you want's decks. It's a way to get your set 6 decks in stock as soon as possible.
after that, you do have the Hunter of Shards, which is 6 decks of Winds of Exchange and of Winds of Exchange playmat. Good starter set, right? $75, half a box and a playmat.
I mean, that does sound pretty good. Like $10 more and I get a playmat.
Yeah,
That sounds okay to me. Like, I don't mind.
And we already talked about like some of this art's really nice. So if you wanted to play on a set 6 playmat that looks
this is like
art, there you go.
This seems to me like this is like the good new player starting position, right?
Mhm.
Like
Because $25 more, you actually get 6 decks and a mat. But there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you get a mat to play on. You're probably going to spend $15 to $25 on a mat anyways if you're going to play the game. So it's a good starting section. We've already gone over the Reaper of Ember. This is what kind of kicked everything off.
Still a great value in my opinion. It's
very
really
good value.
array.
That is the tier I will be at. So, Breaker of Chains. I think this is the tier most everyone else is at. 36 Winds of Exchange decks, 2 Winds of Exchange playmats, 3 Winds of Exchange personalized decks, 3 personalized playmats, the Niffle Ape vinyl figure, the Officer Moon vinyl figure, and a Gruin plushie.
Hell yeah, Breaker of Chains all the way. Me, my wife, and my kid.
For $420.
Yep.
Full 20. Times 3.
I'm in pain. So this one kind of chapped me a little bit with the next one. And I guess we'll talk about this in a little bit. We'll go to the final one. Turner of Keys, 72 Winds of Exchange decks, 2 playmats, 3 personalized decks, 3 personalized playmats, Niffle Ape figure, Officer Moon vinyl figure, Dusk Runner vinyl figure, the Fuzzy Gruin plushie, and then you get, again, this is the one that leaves us all scratching our head, the Winds of Exchange collector set.
Over 250 single cards that represents every card coming from the set. Not sure what we do with this as KeyForge players.
Well, and
maybe you could use those to replace missing cards in your deck.
But it says cards are not
tournament legal. Right.
It specifically says it.
So the big question we all had is, what am I going to do with these? I mean, I know there's collectors out there.
Look at them, Wookie.
Well,
they have art and words on them, I'm told.
Lokakar said, he kind of said, hey, I'm a collector. I like to collect things. Like, this is something that would interest me.
Okay. He also has collected every piece of every OP kit that's ever come out. Like the box.
That's true.
The handout that said how to hand out the OP kit. Like he's a hardcore, like every.
Yeah, he's a collector.
He's a completionist.
I don't think he has the KeyForge hand sanitizer I saw though. So
he does have the KeyForge hand sanitizer. Yes.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. I think he said he did. Either I think he said he had it, or either he has one, or he had one and then he lost it or something. I'm not sure.
Lokakar's like the guy from the MCU. He's like people in glass cages. Like anyone related to FFG and KeyForge, they ended up in his basement or something.
Yeah, there's a character
I'm not going
in the
in
MCU.
his basement.
There's a character in the MCU called the Collector.
The Collector.
Yeah, that's Lokakar. That's him.
I'm a little upset that they held the Dusk Runner off of the top. Like,
well, I mean that's because they didn't have as many of them. So
yeah. because that has gone out in OP prize support before, they didn't have as many. I think that made logical sense.
Sure.
I would not be surprised if both of the last two sections, so the Turner of Keys and the Breaker of Chains, if there is a limited amount for tomorrow. And I say that because we know how many Fuzzy Grunes were made, and there also should be a limit. Well,
We know
again,
how many Fuzzy Grunes were delivered in one shipment.
correct.
Yes.
But again, I would not be surprised. And that's a very true Kickstarter. So I could see it as being Gamefound where it is limited. That last section that we're really looking at for Turner of Keys, that's going for $750. I guess I'll be the one who kind of leads it off. In my opinion, as heavily invested KeyForge player, for a group that kind of knows it, running the podcast, this did not appeal to me. I was pretty disappointed 100% because I can't play this deck. The unique KeyForge deck experience is what I love about KeyForge. And this is just a series of cards. So I know Lokakar had talked, hey, if it's on, like, if it's an uncut sheet, he would like it a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's something.
You could
But
glue them back together.
But whether it's uncut or whether it's just separate, this is not the KeyForge experience I'm looking for as a competitive player, as someone who is actively involved in KeyForge. And the jump from 420 to 750, again, I can afford this,
Right.
but I just don't see it. Financially, it is the best deal per deck, if that's what you're looking for. But I would actually much rather go ahead and go in the manager and get multiple sets of Breaker of Chains.
Yeah.
For those decks, versus going ahead.
Or if you just want decks, you could now get Hunter of
correct.
What is it? No,
Seeker of
Shards. Hunter of
Yeah, but
Shards.
that isn't.
Seeker of Decks.
Seeker
Oh, no,
of
Secret of
Decks.
Decks. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
That's not the best price per deck though, because they're $11 per deck essentially there.
On the bottom, it's $10.41. I actually did the calculation on it.
Yeah.
But that's actually not. That's just decks into divisibility by your number. It doesn't include any of the play mats. All of the play mats would be extra. All of the personalized deck, all of the figures, all of the Garun, that would all be just free tossed in, which it's not. So it drops the cost even further.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of talked around this, and at the point that you're spending $750,
I think they got close though. Like if they had changed it just a little bit, I probably would have, because my whole family, so that's 3 people backing this. We're all gonna back at 420. But if this Turner of Keys pledge had just been something where there were 12 personalized decks and none of the personalized playmats, even though I'm technically getting less things, I would have probably paid the $750. Because that means together as a family, we'd have gotten 36 personalized decks. Yes, many of those we would have, like, I would have had multiple Zarathustra's, I'd have had multiple Big Z's, just at a chance at that point for like one of them to be better, or my wife would want one of the Daydream decks to be better. My son would want one of his name decks to be better. Like we would have purchased this at $750 to actually get less product if there were 12 personalized decks. Like literally. Like, keep the 2 set play mats, remove all of the personalized play mats, and make it 12 personalized decks, which is actually a lower MSRP, and we would have paid $750 times 3 immediately and been happy about it.
I was actually a little surprised they didn't go with 6 personalized decks as opposed to the 3. Like you're jumping up a whole bracket. You're jumping up $300 to get basically a Dusk Runner figure. I mean, you're getting more decks, yes, okay, but
what I'm saying is we already broke out the MSRP. What I am saying is actually a lower MSRP, and we would have paid the $750.
Yeah,
I think Wookie's right though. If they made it, and I think the mats is probably what kills it in the end, because to add 3 decks and 3 mats is a little over $100 in value.
Yeah,
for them,
right. If they'd just done 3 extra named decks with no mats even at 6, I might have even gone to that tier.
Because I think, like, if you're like, hey, so this is a lot of mats. 5 mats. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot of mats. I mean, even if 3 are personalized, like, I don't know, like it'd be kind of weird because you're playing, or maybe you're not playing a personalized deck and you have a personalized mat. I don't know. It would feel weird playing it. Maybe, I don't know. It just, maybe my ADDs are, my OCDs kicking in because it'd be like, well,
I don't
this,
have
this,
that problem.
yeah. Well, I know you don't have that problem, but like, I just think I'm surprised there wasn't a bracket above this where it was just like, how many personalized decks do you want, and how like put it at $1,000 and be like 36 personalized decks.
That may still be an add-on where it'll just be some number
that's the
to
thing
add
we
a
don't know.
personalized deck.
Like, we don't know if they already have a personalized deck planned add-on. I think that would be one of the best add-ons that they could have. Because
Yes.
one of the things that we were talking about before is, like, I think the biggest part that they missed on, like, I think tier 1 is actually, now that we've talked about what's in it, we know what the starter kit has. It does have the training deck, so that's actually really good for new players. It doesn't have anything unique in the tier to draw new players in to get a part of, like, this Gamefound launch is the first time we've had anything like this for KeyForge, but there's nothing that they're getting in tier 1 that anyone would be able to, like, oh, you got that from the launch. Whereas as soon as they get to tier 3 and above, you're getting something from it where everyone knows by just showing up with it, they know you're part of the Gamefound. I think something like that embedded to tier 1 where they could only get during the Gamefound would have been great for new players coming in.
Could you throw in a set of, like, KeyForge, like maybe like some metal keys or whatever, even if they're plastic?
Like, why not make
it would be
one
like
of the two
Gamefound
decks
exclusive.
Just make one of the two decks, they
Amber.
get a custom deck. Just,
you could do that too.
They get two decks anyway. Give them a custom deck for tier 1. Like, give them something that is unique to this experience for joining our game. Like, at $50, like, that's a nice solid entry point for a lot of non-affluent players. Like, I just think they should have something where everyone knows, like, this is how I started KeyForge. You know it because this is the thing. I think that would have been a nice, hoorah for those players coming in at that pledge. Because basically anyone that gets that pledge is automatically just a new player. Like, that's very clear, right? And there's no way to show that from what they're getting.
Yeah, now they did address one of the other big things that we were saying about tier 1, or I guess asking why there wasn't a tier 0.5, right? We said, hey, it would be great to have a tier below this for the new players who are... Yeah. Now, they answered this on the FAQ, right? And they said, hey, we considered it, but we realized, hey, we're giving away a free deck. There's going to be stretch goals. So that's so I'm excited to learn about those. But hey, if you're giving away that little, it's either too complex or too costly for them. AKA, they're not going to make money. And so it would make sense from a handling and administration perspective. So I really like that they answered this, because it made it clear that, hey, they really considered, hey, what can we do for the new player? And they said, hey, you know what? $50 is the point where we know it's going to be a good deal for us. And hey, we're hoping it's going to be a good deal for new players as well. But they didn't bend to our sort of random, hey, you should probably do this. And then they go and put something out that is actually going to lose them money or something like that. So I thought that was wise.
That's why I was throwing out there,
is
like,
it
about
wise?
the valuation.
I don't know if that's wise. Like, because if I'm a new player, I've never played KeyForge before, $50, that's a little steep to get in on a card game I don't know much about. I think, have the $20 bracket. I think us as KeyForge players are probably more responsible, than the rest, to be like, kind of like, hey, these are for newbies. If they and then limit it. If they sell out, they sell out.
I think the way they're advertising this, or even what it is, that it's really meant to be, hey, find KeyForge for the first time through this. This is, hey, is there enough standard community out there to keep this going, that then you worry about building new players? Because they're super short lead up to this, and then this is only a 17-day Gamefound.
Yeah,
where typically it's like short. I don't think they're really worried about this being where they pick up new players. Hopefully their new player plan has to do with actual game stores, right? And getting it in front of people in game stores. That's, what we all want if we want this to be a competitive tournament game. If the way they get new players is through Gamefound, how do I find that player after this? You don't, right? I don't know who else bought it on Gamefound. New players joining that way are super casuals. And I don't think that's what the point of this Gamefound is. And it's 17 days to say, those of you who are willing to spend money on KeyForge, show us so we can print some and get it in front of everybody else.
Fair enough.
But, let's just say, because we think they listen to the show now because we're so full of ourselves, but a $15 or even $20 add-on for just a custom deck is something I would start clicking on.
Well, either that or everyone has the same idea we have, but we had it first and we publish it, so therefore it's ours.
Yes.
I'm still
running
not
away with it.
People listen, but either way,
I think
go
it's
back
Murph.
to my point.
It's Murph.
Hey, Wizard Random's listening right now.
Murph is the plant.
Yeah, Murph is typing.
But Murph is typing. And
He's
where?
typing.
Oh, jeez. Murph is definitely
the
the
AC
plant.
Live chat, Wookie, that you set up.
That I set up, yeah.
To go ahead and refocus us, I will second what Z said. If we had not the personalized mats, but more of the personalized decks, I would have gone ahead and leaned in on the $750. I know there was some feedback about the $50, but I want to actually say when you're looking at 6 decks, 4 of those is being randomly generated. I do think that $50 fits in for going out for a movie with a couple. It goes ahead and fits what most people would do. If you're getting a board game, $50 honestly is on the light side now for many of the different board games. So I honestly think that they did a good job there. No,
oh my God,
but what I'm
hurt myself.
Oh my God.
But what I'm saying,
but you can't
Wookie,
play any other card game for $50.
Sure you can.
No, you can do exactly what we're talking about here. You can buy a crappy Pokemon deck that you can't actually do anything with. You can play it, but why would you? Yes, you get to learn the game.
Just the idea that we keep comparing this to a board game drives me This is not a board game. This is a card game. You're not competing with Settlers of Catan. You're competing with Magic the Gathering.
Well, but what you're actually looking at here is that for Gamefound, it's going ahead and publishing other games. And so those mostly being board games, that's what you're comparing to. And for having an experience, yes, I can play Settlers of Catan over and over. Frankly, with my decks here, I can go ahead and play and have different matchups, and I can replay those decks. So I know that you don't like that comparison, but for many individuals who are playing the card game or board games, this fits in that price point that it is actually a good deal for 6 decks for $50.
I'm just not convinced because I think the people that are still around after 2 years are the people who are playing this game competitively.
Which is why you're looking at the later tiers, which is why I think the upper tier actually hurt the most. But I still think $420. I mean, right now, looking at our Gamefound, with 9 hours left, we're at 9,251 board gamers who are following. We're almost at 10,000 people just following. I want to be able to see how many of those individuals are going to come out and support. And I hope that it is the same amount that I'm seeing here.
If every one of those 9,000 bought a $420, that's $3.8 million.
I mean,
correct.
Good.
And I don't think that's the case looking at the comments and looking where people are. Because the price point, we're all at different spots in our life.
let's just say every one of those 9,000 people buys at the $50 level. Now we know that's not
$50 level. It's only like $400,000.
$450,000. Yeah. That's just at 9,000 people.
At the 150 level, which is
probably the most for me, at least from what I've heard, it's the most appealing to most people.
Yeah, that would be 1.4 almost $1 million, 1.3.
And we will take our cut whenever you guys want to send it.
Yep.
I mean, I think
checks in the mail.
Send $1.3 million himself.
In fact, he's got a meeting tomorrow about that second mortgage.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only place where they kind of is a miss maybe in there is that really attractive $100 offering, because a lot of people like $100. It's just that round number.
Yes.
But the
well, originally they didn't
and
have
a 65 add-on. You're pretty close to $100.
Well, originally they didn't have that Seeker of Decks. So, like, with the Seeker of Decks in there, had they planned that from go, that Hunter of Shards probably would have been that at 100. They just that was a response thing, right? Because that is our under $100 option. But now that they're so close, it's like whether you want to mat or not. So that's probably what happened with that valuation. But I think we beat this one to death. What's next, guys?
Where are we headed next? I don't remember. I got to check the sheet.
Well, while you're checking, I mean, our AC live chat is giving us some feedback that both Murph and Wizard Random, yes, compared to other TCG card games, $50 is an incredible deal. So I feel very validated here. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Ghost Galaxies has also partnered with Board Game Geek. You guys can go over there. I'll put the link in the description down below for you guys to go take the KeyForge. Is it the quiz? Yeah, it's a quiz.
Yep.
Take the KeyForge quiz. It's actually pretty easy if you've been playing KeyForge.
Oof.
What? Oof,
Or
what?
not.
Those questions were...
Did you struggle with the questions?
Really? I haven't done it yet.
Oh, they were all
they were
above
really
were
easy.
not good.
Yes. So
I thought they were fine.
I thought they were fine too.
Nope.
Weird.
I am an analytical person, and those questions
Wait,
did not
did you
pass
get
my
them?
sniff test.
Did you get them all right?
Because I had saw all your responses. Otherwise, I would not have picked all of above for those, because those are not all of above answers.
I still disagree about the last one being all of the above for getting 6 amber. There were multiple aspects that were shown there. So no, I missed one as a result, and I did not see the items. I felt that it could have been clear, but that's my teacher speak.
Either one.
I thought it was fine.
But I love that they're doing this and that they're getting it out on BGG, getting people's eyeballs. Like, a lot of people take these contests just for all the random board games and stuff that are out there. So I think it does put the thought in folks' mind.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's a good move.
It's fun. It's enjoyable. There's a chance to win a whole display. They're going to give away 20 displays through the contest, and the contest is pretty short, right? There's only like a couple days or something to do it.
September 13th.
On that
5 days.
Board Game Geek, not long after KeyForge had come out, originally I did one of the Dice Tower cruises, which is a all board gaming kind of thing, but there were KeyForge meetups on that cruise, right? So like KeyForge early on did actually, and like Z's one of them, it brought in people who didn't play card games.
Yep.
And a lot of those people getting in front of there, and Gamefound is a good place for those level of people to be like, hey, that's still around. I like playing that. I'll throw some more money at it.
Yeah, I was a pure board gamer through and through. This was the first competitive anything that I had done since like I was a kid, and that was a online game. So yeah, like I was just saw it on Amazon and I was like, oh, this looks fun, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I was a board gamer too. Yep.
I was a card gamer. I know JR was a board gamer.
Hence, you get tilted when we call it a board game.
I
both played some other competitive collectible games. Just cards weren't our thing necessarily.
Miniatures. I mean, I did play some cards for a bit, but it wasn't my mainstay.
All right. I think it's time for the obligatory spoiler warning. Z?
All right. Thank you for joining our AC cast this week. As always, we appreciate your listenership. If you're going to stay around for spoilers, that's what's next. If you don't want Set 6 to be spoiled, see ya. Have fun. We'll be here next week. For the rest of you, let's go.
I'm in the corner.
People like this are a menace to decent society.
Are you ready for something new and hot?
You're in the corner.
Here we go.
So I don't know. I thought Mass Buyout was the spoiler for this week, but I don't think it was. We've done Mass Buyout.
There's new spoilers on.
We have not done Mass Buyout.
We have not done Mass Buyout?
No, I just learned about that
Oh,
Today,
so
yesterday?
well
flea
then,
market.
let's go. Mass Buyout Ekwidon action card. Play, destroy each creature. Each player gains Ember equal to half the number of creatures they controlled that were destroyed this way, rounding up.
I think
Right.
it's real good.
I
A
think
lot of similarities to Final Analysis.
Yeah.
Right. Situationally good, I think.
Well, but like you got to think of the way Final Analysis works, right? Like if you kill, let's say, 3 of your own creatures, there's a good chance you play one of your cards.
Mhm.
In this scenario, you're getting value, like both sides are getting value. Yes, that's a thing, but you're getting value pretty much no matter what. And we already talked about a card in this cast that can be manipulated to make sure the value is swinging your way. And although I keep forgetting the name of that card, it's in our notes. It is Closed Door Negotiations. They have a big board, you have a small board, you blow both up, then you swing the amber back to use. Yes, they're going to get some cards off of that too. That could be a huge bailout. We don't know if there's a key cheat in the merchant house, but if there is,
Yeah, I think that's going
this
to be
is
the
game
big
ending. Like,
decision.
yeah. If there's not a key cheat, I think there's still lots of value based on other cards we've already seen. Especially if the token is the scout card, which we've talked about. I know we keep talking about it, but we just keep seeing things that make the card better and better and better.
Well, don't
Because if
forget,
I-
this is a token creature set, right?
Yeah.
So there's a really
Yeah,
good
like
shot. You're going to be able to
you're-
create tokens and then mass buyout to
'Cause
make sure
even
you gain
even
more
if-
Ember than your opponent.
Yeah. Because Scout's not a card that people want to kill. Because even if they understand, like, you can kill it on your own turn and get the draw that way, it is way better for you to be drawing cards during their turn, because then you have more decision options before you call your house. So most likely, even if Scout is your token, if this card is in your deck, you go into Merchant House, you leave out with all your Scouts that they didn't want to kill in the first place. You play this, you kill them all, you get a ton of Amber, you kill your opponent's board, and then you draw a bunch of cards. This is like borderline just straight bullshit. Sorry, JR.
You're so upset.
Yes.
This is just borderline
PC
straight talk.
control over here.
All right.
It just is.
Now it
It's
just
like,
has to
no-
come together, like it
Like-
actually exists.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
All right.
Because
we- Common.
we talked about last week of how rare getting a specific token is. Oh, I forgot to mention that in the early cast. Again, they don't listen to us anyway. I will pay lots of money if you let me pick my token. Lots of money. Let me pick a token, and you will make your $3 million whatever.
But you have
need
to pick
make.
it now. You don't get to see all the other ones.
Fine.
That's fine. I
Oh,
don't care. I'll pick
okay.
right now. Give
Okay.
me 36 decks with Scout.
Fair enough.
All in on Scout.
We also got
did
a
see-
couple new cards. We don't know the name. I think it's. I'm not sure if it's Mole or Molly. It's Moll, and then it's cut off. It's a 4-power Ekwidon creature. Reap. For the remainder of turn, each friendly strange shell. Wow, that sounds weird. Gets +3 power and loses all abilities. I don't know what a strange shell is.
So the guess
We know
the guess
half
for-
of a combo.
Yeah, the guess from Archon Arcana is Mollusk, which would fit if you know what a mollusk
Oh,
is.
yeah, it kind of does look like one, I suppose. Yeah.
And you can see the starting of that O right after the double L.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's going to be like an ancient fossil.
Well, it's just a get Rukia. Get Rukia. I'll get
Which
that
did
down.
it did show up in the house kind of talk for that's the main group
Yeah.
for House Ekwidon.
Right.
Yeah, that's the race.
He's
for all-
also a
all the
rare
merchants.
too, so I don't know if he's not. I don't think he's game breaking of any sort. I mean, I guess we don't know what Strange Shell is. Do we? We have no inkling of
Have
what
we
this
seen
is, right?
all the tokens for them? I don't
No,
think
but we have one more token that was revealed
Well,
because we saw
wait, I
we
thought we
saw
saw-
Scout. What was the one? We saw Scout. What
We
was
have,
the other
we have
one?
Diplomat, Merchant, and Scout.
Yeah, but
right
there's
now.
still the linked one that we don't know what it is.
Well, Diplomat's new, right? We haven't talked
Diplomat's
about Diplomat.
new. So Diplomat is a 1-power token creature. It has elusive reach. Each player gains 1 Ember. Nobody's got any feelings.
That's
on
some speed, man, right? Like that is
I don't know.
pushing
I
this
don't know-
game hard.
I don't know where this came from, but Strange Shell is in Archon's Arcana.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. I didn't see where that was posted. I did not know this existed yet. So it is a token creature token. So this is the special linked token for Merchant House.
Okay.
1 power, 4 armor, cannot fight or reap. Action. Hell yeah. Put it into your hand, which means it would then become the opposite side of the card. So yes,
Ketzer saying you can see it as part of a previous card.
Yeah, it was.
so the Merchant House now has two really, really good tokens.
And I'm sorry, what? I didn't hear what it did.
So it doesn't do anything. It can't fight or reap. Has 1 power, 4 armor, but it has an action ability that says put the card into your hand.
Pretty good.
Which means you take the downside version of it. It's just basically a faster way to draw your deck.
Ooh, and he's got
If you
4
have
armor.
this,
That seems high for a token creature.
well, and then if you have the special creature that's assigned to this token, you could like reap with them that turn for whatever reason. I would still probably use the other ability because in most cases, well, yeah, because you get to look at that card,
Yeah.
so you could use the ones that are Merchant House, return those to your hand, then use the special creature to reap with the ones that you don't care about.
Yeah, and then not only that, don't forget Star Alliance isn't set, so I'm sure there'll be a whole bunch of use a creature that isn't part of a Star Alliance. Because that's the thing they do.
Yeah. Like either
so you'll just be like, oh, now my Star Alliance cards, those can come right back to hand.
Diplomat or Subject Kirby, both of those would have a ton of value in the sets from just what we know of already.
You mean Strange Shell?
No.
No? Diplomat? For reaping for each player to gain 1?
Well, yeah, no. I'm saying like both of those cards, if they are reprinted, will have a ton of value just from what we know from the Merchant House. Like we know very little about any other house.
Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot of the set. My assumption is we're going to see about 14 cards tomorrow. Would be my assumption. What is this? What is this you're sending, Drazkor?
This whatever this transitory something or other.
Yeah.
Blurry half an image.
Yeah. Looks like it's a steal 1 for
something enemy artifact.
Probably for each enemy artifact.
Is that what it says?
I don't know if
that would be amazing.
I mean, going up against MM or even DT, that's going to be some punishment.
So it's saying something like each house among enemy
it could.
artifacts.
It's cut off.
Yep. It says action steal 1 for blank is cut off, and then it comes back enemy artifact, and then you can see the scroll on the bottom. I decipher kids' handwriting all the time.
Yeah,
that's easy.
That's why you're on this show.
If it said that, like sheep, if it said the house thing, the artifact would be plural.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. So it's not that.
For each enemy
I have
artifact.
no idea.
I mean, each ready or each exhausted. I don't know. Each
exhausted would be horrible. It's not a thing.
Yeah, you're not going to have exhausted artifacts on their turn.
I think it really could be.
What house is this card? This is an Ekwidon card.
It's an Ekwidon card, yeah.
I think this literally could be action. Steal 1 for each of opponent's enemy artifact. Nope, that would be plural too.
For each enemy artifact.
That would work. That's the only thing I think that works.
Now, the card's too wide.
It is too wide. Enemy would have to be very large.
It's something. Who knows? As I say, like for each exhausted would work well if it was in house. Fish heads could work.
Yeah, that would be a fish thing.
So knowing that we're looking at as Ekwidon, they talk about trying to gain an advantage. So if you have for each additional enemy artifact or for... I'm curious to see what the reading is, but we know that they like to make deals and be able to gain an advantage. I like the stealing that's coming from the house. I like some of these different actions. I think it's going to be a very solid house, but I'm curious to see how it plays in the set.
I don't know. They have some very promising looking action artifacts, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kind of action level artifacts where you might go back to them even though you have nothing on board and nothing to play, because you can play a card from their hand for an amber and steal some with this maybe, where it'll just be... So, of course, this is a creature. So
Yeah.
And to go back, the Strange Shell, which was on Arcana, so definitely giving credit, was actually shown from Ghost Galaxy's Gen Con booth. So that's why it was put in. So that was something.
Wow, those are absolutely cards you can't count on.
Correct, because they're from FFGs prior.
Yeah,
You got it.
Printed cards. I mean, it could be right too, but who knows?
Did we talk about flea market?
We talked about flea market.
Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so.
I know that we had gone through Diplomat. Do you guys like Diplomat?
I don't hate it. I mean, like I gained 2, you gained 1. That's not terrible.
All right.
I mean, it's going to be very dependent on where we are in the game.
Yeah,
there's definitely going to be times where you just don't use Diplomat.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Then that's situational.
Again, like if they have a good key cheat in Ekwidon, this will be different.
Well, but it's going to be different because they have a way to steal. So Ekwidon here, by actually producing Ember or Anger, gives a chance to be able to steal it back from other cards in house. So I like that aspect. I just don't think that it really played out for Shadows and MM when you were going ahead and generating. So it's interesting. But 2 for 1.
Shadows.
I think
Shadows after Coda just became.
They
were okay, but they weren't. They were a shell of their former selves.
I'm not in love with Coda Shadows.
What?
I'm hurt.
Until you get
all right.
Odoak and
about the Diplomat thing, like I don't like it personally, but I think it's better than what y'all are thinking because of horrible reason.
What's your horrible reason?
Players are going to realize that they get that value too. I think they will errantly not kill it when they should, and you're going to get to reap with it more often than you tactically should because of player mistakes.
And because it's a token, you have 3 of them out. I just gained 6 Amber, and you gained 3. Yep.
So I'm saying it is better than it looks because some players are worse than they should.
Well, but to be honest, it's going to depend on how many of these token creatures we can spit out on a turn. If you're consistently spitting out, 1, or is it 2, like that?
But that's the thing. We've already started to see commons at common that make a token.
Yes.
We've started to see uncommons that make more than 1 token. And we even have a Sanctum card that produces potentially a boatload of tokens off of 1 card. So if all 3 houses are made in this way, I think we are the whole idea of it when they released their first article is to talk about the game's going to shift in a way where you're going to start to see bigger boards, which is why I was joking about, hey, you need to start producing 24-inch mats or whatever. I don't know what the standard actually is.
Well, that's why they're giving you
bigger
mats.
You just got to line them up.
It's time to double mat it, folks. Yeah, but that's I think this card oddly is going to potentially win more games than it should.
See, I'm not excited about it because I don't know that I'm that excited about a token that gives me a reason, a semi-common scenario where I'm not going to want to reap with it.
This is kind of like Quester Jarda, right? Like he doesn't say exactly the same thing, but he often is saying essentially the same thing.
But it's May.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and this is
that is a significant difference. It is May.
Yeah.
But I still think this is better than what some of you are just natively assuming.
And like Wizard points out, he's also elusive to boot.
Yeah.
But he's at a 1. I mean, the amount of ping damage that you have, whether it's from MM, whether you have there's a lot of 1 damage. Seeker Needle, we have the ways to deal with 1 damage.
We're going into the Kerwallop meta, guys.
Correct.
It's going to happen.
100%.
Kerwallop for the win.
Kerwallop meta. Oh,
we're bringing our scout sleeves to prevent that. Yeah. So
way ahead of you. Already got them on order.
With the merchants, yes, I want Scout real bad, but I don't think there is a losing token per se. We've seen tokens that are this is not good, for sure, not good. But like, I would not be devastated to get a merchant house token. Other than the fact if it's not Scout, I'd be a little sad about that. But like, I would be at least it's a merchant token because all of these are good to an extent.
To an extent,
None
they all
of them
serve a
suck.
purpose thus far.
Yes.
More or less.
All of
except for
them are
Grunt.
above average tokens from
Except for
every
Grunt.
token we've seen.
Except for
And
Grunt.
they're often as good as half the Brobnar creatures from Worlds Collide. So,
I mean,
And-
is any of them worse than them? I don't think so.
sure.
They're all better than Worlds Collide Robber.
All right, what else you
And
got?
for anyone following along and trying to know what Kerwallop was, just so that we can actually be friendly
yep,
to
yep,
our
yep.
podcast listeners. Shadow's action play, deal 1 damage to each creature, gain 1 amber for each creature destroyed this way. It's at a common.
Yep. There are lots of them in its Dark Tidings.
Yeah, it is DT.
Yep.
Legacy Maverick. Oh, sorry.
No.
My bad. No,
Oh, yeah.
Legacy Maverick.
Can that happen? Did we ever confirm if that
Yes,
can
there
happen?
have been confirmed
Yeah.
Legacy Mavericks.
For my house, it doesn't exist in set.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a Vault Keeper, the only Vault Keeper in MM.
But
Or no,
Sanctum
wait,
is
wait, wait,
in
But Sanctum's in MM.
No, there are Mars cards. That
You're
have
absolutely
showed
right.
up in-
Yeah,
There's
they're-
Mars
yeah.
cards in.
Worlds Collide.
Huh. I did not actually know this.
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, they're not
Cool.
like it's not happening every day. But-
No, it's pretty rare.
It's pretty rare, but I mean, they exist. So, with
All
that
right.
being said, unfortunately for the live listeners, we love you all. Thank you for listening, but we do have to cut it off here. We are going to continue going. You'll have to listen to the show tomorrow. Don't forget to check out the YouTube 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. The YouTube will be going up with our AC exclusive spoilers. So we thank you all for listening.
There is a 5 Kerwallop deck.
Oh boy.
And I will say thank you, Ghost Galaxy, for thinking and remembering us and reaching out to content creators.
I got Christian T. Peterson's phone number. What are you talking about?
I'm just thankful.
I'm just
That's
kidding.
where I'm at.
It's probably a desk line. But all right, everybody go down to general.
55555.
5555. One call, that's all. Oh, different thing.
No,
All
different
right.
area.
Go to AC General, peeps.
All right.
Okay. So
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
yes.
say it's clear that Ghost Galaxy still doesn't like Archon's Corner because we
Why?
got the Brobnar.
Whatever.
No,
I don't-
that's just because of Wookiee liking NARP. So I knew that is just
I think
feeding
that's
into it.
We're still recording, right?
Yeah, we're still recording. So we got
All right.
Brobnar if you didn't already hear.
I'm excited.
Brobnar.
I actually don't, the two cards, I even said it on the YouTube video. I actually don't mind them, to be honest with you. I think
the token's pretty good, actually.
the token's going to be better than Z gives it credit for.
I did have to think about it longer, and after Sheep brought up the idea of the board thing, I do think it has more value than I initially thought. Still don't think it's better than Scout, but it is.
I agree
It
with
is
that.
it's tangibly better than I initially thought. Kind of like what we just said about the diplomat. I think there is a lot of hidden value in using it correctly, and as far
Yes.
as how you like plan.
Maybe
to
we should
implement
describe
that.
them.
Yeah, maybe we should
So
tell
So
people
let's
First
go.
up,
Ewok.
We
Or
got
whoever wants to do it,
Berserker.
not me.
Berserker is a 5-power token creature giant. He
Did
enters
you say 5?
5.
Five?
amazing.
Tokens.
$5 footlongs, everybody. And he does when he fights, you destroy Berserker. He's got a fight trigger. So, I mean, the way I kind of described him, he's a 5-power kill spell. Like, just
Yeah.
he can't get through elusive, or he can't get through. He can't get through elusive,
You're right.
but he
So
can't get
he's-
through taunt,
But you did say enters play ready. And
ready,
away.
and enraged.
And
So
enraged,
Right.
yeah.
he has to fight.
He's
if
real
you're-
mad.
Yes. Well, just
So this
look
is
at
the
card.
same as a zealot, right? The
Yeah,
4-power
he's-
zealot
he's
comes
a
in
zealot.
ready and enraged. Except
Except-
this guy's 5, and he
He's not the same as the Zealot because when he fights, he has to
He
die.
dies.
Like, we need to
Yes.
be very clear about that.
But wait, does he?
We'll
Let's
talk about
talk
that in
about
a
it.
little bit. Let's go to Revna Star Song. I'm going to tell you guys a little story about Revna. For 45 minutes while I tried to record our video because I kept screwing up the script and having to make little bitty changes while I was recording. For 45 minutes, I called her Reva Starsong. Totally didn't even look at the end.
Nice.
Reba
Just
McEntire?
FYI. Not Reba, Reva,
giant
on
Reba.
the show. But she is a 7-power giant. Each friendly berserker loses all fight effects. So hopefully these two are linked.
I'm almost certain that the berserker is the linked rarity
Token.
So if you get a Revna in your deck, you get berserker.
You're going to get berserker.
I think.
And vice versa. If you get a berserker, you're going to get a Revna.
I know they can't see the thing, but isn't that the second symbol we're seeing on this card?
Yeah,
that's the token
like, there's
symbol.
a symbol. Well, no, it's on both cards.
Yeah, look in the background.
I think that's the set
right
symbol. Is it not?
There is the little U shape with a dot.
Are you talking about like the Brobnar house symbol on there?
Sheep said it. The U shape with the dot to the left.
A rectangular Pokemon symbol.
Oh, my bad. Okay,
that's just the token symbol.
But you to the left of the number, which is a set
I think
icon.
that's the set symbol.
I know you guys are not a big fan of the artwork, but if you actually look at Revna and you look in the background to the right, underneath her giant sword, guess what you see?
That's
not
a
sword.
It's definitely an axe.
Against the battle axe, sorry. But battle axe, it's been a long week. But look at what you're being able to see. You can see the horns that are coming. I could definitely see that as being a berserker that's there.
Yeah, it is. It's the same face thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
she's the leader of the berserkers. That's...
Clearly.
I mean, like, that's... We think it's linked. I think my opinion is obviously berserker's going to be a pretty good card, as he was saying, because on blank boards, like, it's real good. Like, it's... In some ways, it's like, if you have good token generation, it's like Gengar Chieftain. If you can clear the board and then just start dropping tokens, like, once you get to 6,
and like for those that have played AOA and you've had Gengar Chieftain and Drummernaut, like it happens way more often than you think. Even when they look at your deck list and they know they're trying to prevent that, you end up reaping out through a board quite often. And like this isn't just they have to have these cards to combo off of. This is every card in not every card, but a good chunk of the cards in Brobnar are going to be able to create these guys.
Well, and not only that, this is going to create speed for in Brobnar, where normally Brobnar slows things down. If you have Brobnar in your deck, you're traditionally going to have a slower deck. Now you create a little bit of speed. I don't know if it's the right kind of speed. Maybe not. But you create a little bit of speed. You'll be able to cycle faster, maybe.
This is the first token where I'm actually interested in, except it overrides that rule, but where most of the token generation will be in the same house as the token. But they also said that gets overridden by the rare linking one.
Yes.
Which we think this is what this is. So it could still be you make 10 ready enraged tokens in Star Alliance and then go, I can't use them.
But you were right in saying this is the scenario because we talked about how it would be better to be the other way. In this case, it is definitely better to have more token generation in Brobnar for the fact that they come in ready. And then like one of the things we still haven't seen, like we've seen very few cards outside of the Merchant House. And we know as of right now, there's only one card in all of the Merchant House that has recursion. And that's that weird, your artifact comes back to your hand by like trading them out. But if this set through at least one of the houses generates really, really good discard pile recursion, stuff like this, being able to flip, like you create tokens by flipping the top card of your deck, and then fighting within the short end immediately can actually go through your draw deck quite fast. So if any of these houses actually end up with a really good recursion mechanism, this is a token that would synergize really, really well with that. I doubt it will be in Brobnar. They've never recurred anything. So that's not like the ideal combo, but if any of the houses end up doing that,
you might not be looking for Brobnar recursion though either, because remember, like the card that goes face down isn't necessarily going to be Brobnar.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter what house has the recursion, but if any of them then get paired with Revna and the Berserker, that like because we're just talking about potentials to make the set good. Like that's another thing that can potentially happen. Again, we don't know. But we've seen I don't know what house would lean into recursion. Like this is gone, so we don't have that. That was a recursion house. Untamed is gone. We don't have that. That was a recursion house. Like, so what's left? I don't know.
How about
again?
How about we get a Brobnar card called "Get Back in There," which is basically an exhume.
I mean, they can obviously put that stuff in any house. Like, we got a recursion card in Dark Tidings that no one like.
Why
ever
would you
plays.
call it "Get Back in There" and not round 2?
You could round 2 fight. Yeah, round 2 fight. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like all of these ideas, but
yeah.
it's interesting to see where
Make it uncommon.
they added that, because recursion in this set is potentially more valuable than any other set we've seen thus far, because you're going to get a lot of cards hitting your discard pile that you did not play yourself. They were
Maybe that's
tokens
why Dis and Untamed are no longer.
I would hope that's not the reason, but
that probably is the reason, because they're probably like, well, we don't want them just that we don't want this to become a game of Magic where you just now it's in the graveyard. Now I tap 4 mana and win the game.
Yeah, but with the houses we have, I don't even have a guess to offer our audience a star. What house that would be? We know pretty solidly it is not the Merchant House, because we've seen a lot of their cards and none of them are hitting that theme. Because they're kind of replacing logos and shadows. And that's great. So it is interesting to see if that is a mechanism that one of the houses takes on, or if it's spread out among the other houses.
My guess is it's probably going to end up in Star Alliance if it is in set. That house would make the most, because it would probably be like, go get a non-Brobnar or non-Star Alliance card from your discard and put it into play, or something like that.
Oh, I could see them, because they are all about the not
off-house synergy,
off-house playing. Like, right. That would be kind of cool. Like the opposite of the Sanctum one that we got last set. Yeah. Like, play a non-Star Alliance card from your discard pile. That would be great. That'd be fantastic.
I could definitely see that being in Star Alliance, not so much in Sanctum. Sanctum's still around, right? Yeah, they are, because they have Squire coming. Because we've seen like no Sanctum cards. Wonder who
we've seen very few of it. Like, we've seen a decent amount of Merchant. We've seen some Mars, and then like nothing else.
Yeah, pretty much.
We can't really speak much about any other house. We've seen like 2 Sanctum cards.
Yeah, there's Friendship out here. Do we even talk about that one?
Friendship.
Oh, we didn't. That did come this week.
The
second Sanctum card.
Yeah,
it was a second Sanctum card.
It was a Polish community spoil.
Go ahead.
So it may not exist again.
No,
it may not. But
there's no reason to change this.
Yeah. So this is Sanctum card. It is an upgrade and it's coming in at rare. It has an amber pip printed on it, and it says, when this creature is dealt damage, while it has at least one neighbor, instead distribute the damage to its neighbors as evenly as possible.
So, do you put this on your opponent's taunt creature?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's an upgrade. It can go there.
You got a taunt creature. All right. Whatever.
Are they deleting? Can't find the article you're using for it. Are they deleting articles?
This wasn't on an article.
No. I'm just saying, because I was looking for the original article that came out when they first kind of said, "Hey, here's all the we're coming back, yada yada, so on and so forth," right? And they showed pictures of each of the tokens.
That was the second article where they said, learn about tokens.
Yeah, because there's Tis but a token. Huh. Because I can't find it anymore.
There's nothing earlier than July 14th.
No, there is something.
But I'm saying listed on their website for the news.
So you have to search for it, and it's called It's All About Tokens. Because I was trying to see what the other ones that I couldn't remember all of them, but who we were all seeing. But I found it.
Yeah, because the page only shows 9 articles.
Yeah. That's
Friendship's a fun upgrade. It's in line with about the other upgrades.
I mean, like, you put that in armor's pretty easy. It seems like it's pretty, but you put that on a line with 3 guys with 2 armor apiece, like, that's going to be damned hard to crack.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doubles up on your armor. Like, on your own side, if you have a taunt guy next to 2 people that have 2 armor, that's a great value there. If you put it on Like, if they bring the original Bulwark back, which I would have loved to have had in MM, like the original Bulwark in MM would have been way better than the mutant one. So yeah, original Bulwark with this would be just fantastic. Again, you can use it offensively to put it on their taunt person.
But even just throwing it on
it's a solid
Scrivener or something would be cool. Yeah.
I was just thinking.
So when you get your 50 power fish on the board, he can kill 3 things in one swing.
Ooh.
Well, only 2, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's going to be it for us this week, guys. Don't forget, check out the Patreon. I have reworked the tiers, so maybe there's some cool stuff for you there now. What's the?
I just realized it is better than I thought.
Oh.
It doesn't have to be fight damage.
No. Yeah.
No.
Any damage.
When this creature is dealt damage, while at least one neighbor. That's actually really good. That is way better than I thought it was.
But don't forget, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Archons Corner. I've reworked the tiers. I don't know if any of the other members have gone and looked at it, but the tiers have been reworked to a degree.
1, 5, and 10. Yep.
1, 5, and 10. So now it's just 3 tiers instead of 5 tiers, making it easier. And I am working on I don't think we have any $10 subscribers anymore, but if we do, I'm working on the foil tokens as we speak. I'm creating all the files for them so I can print them off and start cutting them out. So
Sweet.
I'm making my own foil tokens. Nobody did it for me, so I got to do it myself.
So we get a foil token?
Yeah, you can have a foil token. I'll make you guys foil tokens. I don't know when I'm going to have them ready, but I've got all the necessary accoutrement. I'm losing internet for some reason, but I got all the necessary accoutrement, so hopefully that will be shortly. Don't forget, check
like Kansas City.
Maybe I was gonna say maybe.
Cool.
It's a definite possibility. Don't forget to check out the YouTube. We've got just an absolute pile of recently a pile of content that's being released there. If you have seen this here or listening to this here, you can go check out the YouTube channel. By the time you have listened to this, the video will have gone live, so you can actually see the cards live and in person. What else am I missing? Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Anything else, guys?
Come play.
I have a bucket of editing that I got to get done because this has to
come out to Kansas City.
This has to be released by the 9th.
Yeah.
Spend all your money on the Gamefound. All of it.
Well, but I think that's it. Support Gamefound. Go ahead and join us on Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday for events at AC, and come out to Kansas City. I look forward to being able to see people. I'm super excited. I'm glad that we got some Brobnar. I think of you, Wookiee, with the NARP, and I'll tell you, 5 damage. So that ability for Berserker coming in ready and enraged, even though it's going to get destroyed with a fight, dealing 5 damage to some of those key creatures in other sets.
It kills
huge.
Most creatures.
Correct. That's big.
I think this is a top 2 token from what we've seen for tokens so far.
What, right below Scout?
Probably.
Really?
Zia's pants are on fire right now. But
I mean, we also get to have the card and go every time we play it, and that's
that is big.
Yeah, and from across the room you'll be able to hear sheep yell.
Yeah,
that's your cue.
Do it on command.
Oh, this is why I have to record every game I play now. I'm just waiting for sheep to yell it so I can grab that audio clip. And of course, every time I do, he doesn't yell it. So, such is life. Thanks you all for listening. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Happy Forging, everyone.
See you in Kansas City.
Was sorta hoping that you'd stay. Didn't we both know that the nights were mainly made for saying things that you can't say tomorrow day? Crawling back to you. Ever thought of calling when you've had a few? 'Cause I always do. Maybe I'm too busy being lost to fall for somebody new. Now I thought it through. Crawling back to you. If this feeling flows below